Our motoring tip of the week concerns an important chassis feature found only on convertible cars and a great wheel alignment tip. Now, for years and years, I worked on a hoist underneath cars on a hoist, looking up like this, really hard on your neck. And not always the best way to work on the car, but here we are at the Canadian International Auto Show, and Ford's got a Mustang GT convertible on this fixture right here that turns it right up on its side. So we can see that, first of all, that important feature that convertible cars have right here. That's this large steel black colored brace here, bolts to the unibody right up there, right here, right there, and back here as well. And this adds rigidity to the chassis that's taken away when you cut the roof off the car for a convertible. So this is an important feature found only on convertible cars. But over here's what I really want to talk about right here, and that's this cam-shaped washer or eccentric back here in the rear suspension. Now, this Mustang has independent rear suspension. That came a few model years ago on Mustang. But many of today's cars and SUVs have independent rear suspension, and they usually always have these cams or eccentrics in the rear suspension to adjust camber and toe. Now, it's important that camber and toe are properly adjusted to minimize tire wear and maximize performance and handling of the vehicle. But they tend to seize up, especially in the rear of the vehicle. And what you'll typically find is the car comes in for a wheel alignment 5 or 6 years old. They've never been moved. It's out of spec. You need to move them to get back to the spec, but they're seized inside. There's a huge bolt going through the center here, and in the middle of this bushing that's in here is a steel sleeve, and the bolt is a pretty snug fit inside the sleeve. It doesn't take a whole lot of rust and corrosion to lock it solid and seize it. Now, Andy Mackworth at Crown Steering gave me a great tip years ago that will work when this is seized and you can't move it. But the tip Andy gave me, and it will work darn near every time, is to loosen off the jam nut over here and torque on the head of this bolt with the biggest bar or wrench or even 2 wrenches, pulling on it as hard as you can. But simultaneously, you need a second person to help you out on this. You vibrate or rattle that bolt with an air chisel, and you take out the chisel head of the air chisel tool and you put in a hammerhead attachment into it, and your assistant vibrates the shaft of that fastener at the same time you're trying to rotate it. And you're pulling on that bar or wrench, and as soon as the vibration comes, it'll start to move and you'll get to your adjustment. Who cares that it's still seized? You got the adjustment you wanted. You might not have to touch it again for years, but you'll get the job done and you'll get the alignment right, get rid of your tire wear problems, and you'll be a happy customer. That's your motoring tip of the week.